So this is not a tier list. Instead, since so many people want matchup charts, I was like, okay, why not do that? I will talk about Millia's matchups from my perspective, in my opinion. Other Millia players might disagree. Other people who play the game might disagree. This is just how I feel right now. It's a nice option select to be like, oh, you know, this is how I feel right now. But it really is. Rather than make a tier list, especially since like on stream just now, I just talked about like some characters I just don't know about, like Anji, like Axel I don't know that much about, Potemkin I learn more about, you know what I mean, like how to fight them, what they do, type of thing. So instead of making a tier list, we're gonna make a matchup chart.
Millia Rage.
And instead of actually making a matchup chart, I'm gonna give you a summary of the matchups in my opinion right now. We gotta start with public enemy number 1, which is Soul. So I actually think this matchup is 5-5, or at worst it's slight advantage for Soul, which might be a pretty hot take, but compared to Exerd, he is slower than before. It's probably like the most important thing about Soul is that he is not as fast as he used to be in Exerd. His ground speed is not as fast, and his air dash, while his forward air dash goes far, it's delayed because we have the Mario Sunshine air dashes. So a lot of his old hard to hit movement patterns in neutral are a little bit easier to deal with in this game than before. Instead of being super mobile with jump heavy, he doesn't move as far when he does it, right? He has to mix in Bandit Bringer, which has a very clear counter in Millia's JS. So the main thing is neutral and some risk return stuff. So in neutral, he has this and this that are really good buttons. And Millia actually, like, these moves are vulnerable to 5P and 2K. In my 2K hits, I get 2K 2D, the implied damage is really high on that. When you're blocking him too, as we are all aware, if he tries to take his turn again and Millia guesses right, I get a really, really high implied return because I get a mix-up off it too. So the main scary thing about Soul is that if he fucking hits you, he kills you, but it's not that easy for him to hit you, type of thing. So I don't feel too bad about this matchup. I also will post, because I played a really strong Soul in tournament, Red, at the tournament I went in last week. So I'll post those matches pretty soon, and you could just like see what I mean. Like, Millia is she's really, really, really mobile. Even with this game trying to slow her down with the air dashes being the way they are, she's still extremely fast. It is pretty hard for Soul to deal with it. And like some of the main new things that's good, like Soul 6S is a good move, but like my dude is stuck in place. Honestly, one of his best pokes I think is this, just because he recovers so fast, and like it's on the Millia to react quickly and do 2K or like peel off or something. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into literally every single aspect of each matchup, because there's actually a lot to talk about, especially in the matchups I know decently. I'm just giving like a summary, right? So Kai, a lot of Millia players told me they struggle with this match. I think this match is even also. So the big things about Kai is that his damage output is quite high. So this is like a two-layer thing. You're gonna hear me say this a lot. So Millia has the second lowest life. So characters that people tend to say don't do damage, or they might not do a lot of damage all the time on other characters, they do a lot of damage on Millia because she just has no fucking life. So Kai is one of them. So his max damage output is a ton on her, and then like his average damage output is a lot on her. So that's a really big thing. The other thing is that at a glance, his moves all beat hers. So he has like this, he's got this, he's got this, he's got this, and he's got this and this. But a really common theme for Millia versus characters like this is that if you can't interact with the normal straight up, you can maneuver around them. So she can get around a lot of this stuff, and then once she knocks him down, Kai has like the worst DP, essentially. Most characters, like I didn't mention this for Soul because it's not a big deal against Soul, but I'll mention it against characters where it matters. Some characters have like really fast DPs that Millia needs like special responses to deal with. Kai's DP is really slow, so like once you knock him down, it really is party time. The only thing you gotta look for is RTL, because this is 7 frames. But besides that, you don't really have to look for too much. Another thing that's nice about him too is that unlike Soul, a lot of his exits are minus. So even if she can't even when she can't punish them, she still gets to like get away. So he has the problem too where he can't pin her down very easily. And because of that, he's forced to use moves with low total duration, like P's and K's. He can't use as many of these and these against her, because if he whiffs, she's going to punish him. So May's a pretty interesting one. I don't actually have a call on what I think this matchup is right now. I personally feel comfortable. If you watch my stream, you hear me talk about this a lot. I feel comfortable against May, but there's a thing that's worrisome that I don't have like a super stable strategy for, which I still want to kind of come up with. So like, May is pretty tough at a glance. I mean, if you put a gun to my head right now and you're like, you gotta make a call, I'd probably say even or slight May favor. The biggest issue, and this is something that I'm gonna repeat in a couple matchups as well, right? So the biggest issue is that she has a lot of moves that are disjointed, but she always had that, right? So like this, for example, right? This has a disjoint. So before, you would use pin to discourage May from whiffing very liberally and from controlling swaths of the screen with like dolphin stuff, but you don't have that. So neutral patterns like this and like let's say this are way harder to deal with than before, I think. So that's like the main thing that I feel kind of iffy on. And I play a lot of random main players in Celestial and stuff to just try to be in the situation a lot to get more thoughts of what I should do to deal with it. I think it's really important with Millia to have really specific responses to the opponent's neutral, because when you don't, you're going to feel like your opponent is kind of just like, you can't get hit and their buttons are too good. As far as offense, it's pretty good because May has no DP, so once you knock her down, it's fine. Defense is pretty tough, especially in the corner. Her damage output, May's damage output is pretty high. Overhead kiss is like way too much damage, and she has like some offensive patterns that are like this being plus and this being plus that are kind of hard for Millia to deal with. But if you keep it mid-screen on your terms, I think it's okay. And as usual, Millia is faster than May, so you can get around a lot of the stuff that she does. May has to commit really hard to anti-air stuff, like she has to use this, or like up dolphin, or like in the ground game, even if this has like no, like it's disjointed, you can still get around it. But this one is like one I don't really want to call, because like I know the matchup, like I played against a lot of mains and stuff, but I still have questions about like how should I handle certain things. So this one I think I need a little bit more time. Axel's pretty interesting. So basically all Axel players say Millia beats him, and then all Millia players say Millia beats Axel, but because he's so uncommon, I can't really tell you why. Just people say that this is a favorable matchup for Millia, and I basically in theory, yeah, but like it's one I want to play a lot more, so I could give like really specific reasons about why. The main things I would be able to say is that Axel has no DP anymore, which is beneficial. That means her knockdown is really good against him. A bunch of the moves that he likes to use have a decent amount of recovery and have dead zones, and Millia is like really fast. And another really nice thing too is that some of his pokes, since they're like traveling lows and stuff, you can use like moves that have low crush, like S-Disc or like 6H to beat it. And his buttons are slow, like his defensive buttons are slow also, so you get to like really push your offense and do some type of pressures that like you can't do to other characters. That's what I know right now, but I just don't have a lot of experience against him compared to other characters. So even though I basically agree with what Axel players and Millia players say about this matchup, I personally don't really have anything to say besides I agree that Millia beats him like, I don't know, like 5.5, 6.4, like I don't know. And next we got Lord Chip. So this matchup is a matchup that every Millia player struggles against Chip when they start. He is faster than you on the ground and has better buttons than you. So it definitely feels odd when like a high level Millia player looks you in the eye and goes, match is even. But the match is actually even. Like I was told that too. They were like, match is even, and I was like, how is this fucking match even? But then after like studying it a lot and working on it hard, I was like, oh, I guess this match is even actually, huh? So in this version, I think this match is even too. He is similar to Soul. he's a really strong character in this game, but he is easier to deal with than Exert. Like, he is just as fast, but his buttons are not as good, surprisingly. Mostly they have longer total duration, and he doesn't have as much plus frames as he used to as well. And there's some things like let's say you block Alpha Blade, like the Alpha Blade is fast, it's a cross up, but there's more hit stop for you to work with. So when you do defend that move, you can actually see that you defended it and then do something. In Exert, there was like no hit stop on it. So when you, I mean, it wasn't a cross up, but like when they did it, it was so hard to react to the fact that you fucking blocked it that chip players would fucking take their turn, even though they were minus. So a lot of the stuff that chip players like to do, like this into follow-ups and stuff, if you defend it, it's way easier to follow it up. He doesn't have a lot of life, and Millia does good-ish damage. It's not her highest damage version, but it's one of her higher damage versions, I feel like. This one, to me, is just kind of like two super fast characters. Whoever gets started wins type of matchup. If you're having problems against Chip, it's probably because you're trying to fight him too directly, by the way. That's probably like the one sentence advice I can give to you if you're a Millia player who's struggling against Chip. Potemkin. This matchup actually usually is in Millia's favor. This version, I'm not so sure. This is another matchup I don't have as much experience as I would like in. And it's actually kind of important to have experience against him because like he can explode you. Like the way he sets up his offense compared to like other characters with command grabs like Soul and like Mei, I think is like a little bit scarier once against him. He has some problems that are at a glance pretty tough for Millia to deal with, like this being disjoint, this hits like really high, just like smokes JH on reaction mostly. He's got like some pretty good buttons, and the recovery of them are pretty good as well. The good news is she can maneuver around most of these, but I think I had to put a number on it right now, I'd probably say it's even or like slight disadvantage for Millia. But I want to research the match more because I actually think it's okay. Just like where I'm at, I'm like, well, out of the games I played so far, this is what's happened. I don't know what to do about stuff, so I don't know. She's a lot faster than him, but like, even though he's a weird one in that even though he's not fast, a lot of his moves don't have like a lot of like total duration that he likes to use. So it's kind of hard to deal with. And there's some things that there's some like offense structures that Millia has that he can get out of with Mega Fist, which is really annoying. But I think over time these problems can be solved. Another thing is like people just don't play him, so I don't get to play him against him as much as I would like. Out of like the bruisers, I think if you're like a Millia player, you need to play against the characters who bombo you a lot because you need to make sure your defense and neutral are like mega tight. Mega tight. Can you do anything as Garuda and wake up and get bodied up by it? I don't know. I thought you could backdash, but I got hit when I did it. I mean, you just got lab more. So Faust, aka Laust, but I'm not gonna call him Laust. That's fucking Faust. I will not let people say this character's bad. I've been reading YouTube comments too. People roasted me for saying that he's not bad while they watched me get command grab twice into 50-50. Okay, let's not talk about that. So this matchup is a really interesting one because the dynamic changed. This is one of the first matchups that I played. Potemkin's another one, by the way. I mean, maybe like half the cast is kind of like this, but like the dynamic between the characters have changed because Millia has lost pin, and they changed like tools that Faust like to use a lot. So I do think it's Millia's favor. I think slight. I don't think it's like 6-4. Usually this is like a 6-4 for Millia. I think it's like a 5.5 for Millia. So problems first. Let's start problems. So like Kai, he does his damage means more on Millia because Millia has no life. So a bunch of his conversions, he can like I'm just gonna say he kind of trivially does like 70% damage on Millia because of his teleport PRC combos. They do a lot of damage, and he has got really big normals. So for Millia, your goal is to like either bait him into whiffing so you can whiff punish, or move in at an angle that he can't deal with. But it might seem hard because he's got really big buttons. But thankfully, we got this one called Capel, and he has to like watch for Capel and your normal approach and you running up and waiting all at the same time. A bunch of his moves have extended hurt boxes as well. And he has no DP, and his reversal super sucks. So once you knock him down, it's party time. And he's got slow buttons to mash on too. So he can't get out of stuff easily against her. The worst thing that could happen to you, what's the button? Is this? This is the worst, absolute worst thing that could happen to you, is that happening. If this happens, you, like, he's a super character. Like, there's not much to say. If this happens, the threat of getting hit by this is so fucking high because, again, it's Millia, so she doesn't have a lot of life, so she can't fucking take that mix-up. Like, she cannot take the damage from that mix-up. That's a whole ass bomb on her. I guess the only other thing to mention too is that there's this move, which is like easy to deal with and hard to deal with at the same time, where like you can't run under it anymore, unfortunately, and like there's no like way to avoid it like that. But I guess XP it, which is kind of nice. So you just have to be careful when you're moving to like make sure you stop with FD. You know, so you stop right where you want to stop to deal with that move. Millia Mirror. I guess we just skip that because it's obviously 5-5, right? So this is Zato. So this is a pretty interesting matchup. This is actually one of my favorite matchups to play in Guilty Gear is versus Zato. Millia versus Zato traditionally is a super fun matchup. It's a super fun matchup. She usually beats him slightly, usually like 5.5 in her favor. Usually, the only time in my time playing the game where Zato beat Millia was Rev 2.0, which I felt like was like a 6-4. Like it was pretty tough in that version. I haven't played this matchup a lot, but my impression is that Millia has a slight advantage against Zato right now. It's gonna sound a little bit repetitive, but she's hyper mobile. She can get around a lot of stuff. A lot of the stuff that she does in this matchup all lead into knockdowns, which is pretty important. Zato in particular, I feel like is less offense oriented than before and more neutral / like strike throw. So I mean his damage output is really high, but like when I'm blocking him, I'm not like super spooked about mix. But this is a matchup that like I gotta play more. He's pretty uncommon. I mean, not surprise. He's really uncommon in his version, and there's stuff I'm not totally sure how to deal with, so I'm not gonna call this one like hard. Just so far I felt like pretty comfortable, as opposed to like Potemkin, for example. Like the first time I played against Potemkin, I'm like, yo, what the fuck do I do this version, right? As opposed to the first time I played Zato, I was kind of just doing my normal thing, and I was like, so far it's okay. So Ramathal. So I feel pretty good about this match. So I would say like 5.5, 4.5 right now. Now, there's a few issues in this match. So one is the range. So you have to deal with like JS, / 5H, and another one is damage output, especially when your back's to the wall. So those are the main things you're looking for. The good news is, once again, Millia is so fast, you can navigate all these things. And what it eventually turns into is that the Ram players will probably, once like this stops working, they should realize they basically have to preempt you. They have to preempt you and like pull up to certain spots and just put the hitbox there and cross their fingers, kind of. Ram in the corner is really strong. Like basically her corner damage output and how burst safe she is, I think like fixes the matchup. Because if she didn't have the damage output that she had, I would say it's a 6-4 flat, like flat. But thanks to that and thanks to her good ultimates and stuff, I think it kind of like evens it out a little bit. Similar to other characters too, she doesn't have a DP. There it is. Okay, she has this Mortbot. Mortbot. She has that. But most of Millia's good setups just avoid that, so it's not a big deal. But if you get hit by that, goodbye. When she has 50 meter, and when she has meter in general, the tides have turned too, so you have to make sure you do your mix-ups in a way that keeps you safe to burst. So just be careful. Leo. Okay, so Leo's a gatekeeper to everyone in Guilty Gear because he is a pretty easy character to pick up. We were talking about this earlier on stream. He's a pretty easy character to pick up, and the way his mix-up works at a basic level is just like super rough. I basically think this is like even-ish. Feeling like it's even-ish. I played this matchup a pretty good amount right now. A pretty good amount. I think it's even-ish. I don't know if it's like Millia favor or Leo favor, but like someone has a slight advantage in this matchup. So you might be like, man, you're fucking capping. Leo's impossible to beat. Well, let's talk about a couple stuff. So one is that, like, again, he's actually not that fast of a character. He has like a wave dash you could do actually, which is I'm not good at it because I don't play him, but you could do like that. That makes him a little faster, but for the most part, he's similar to a lot of like other beginner characters in that this is his fastest movement, right? So it's really easy to snipe, like judge where he's going to go essentially. Then we have to talk about the fireball. So he's got let's do it with this. So the fireball, you used to be able to do this, by the way, but you can't do it anymore. But you have a couple of responses. If you try to meet him like let's say like air versus air, he's actually like pretty vulnerable when he does this. So you can like get over it and hit him a bunch of times. The other thing that you could do that is super reliable is just do that, and then the fucking fireball goes past each disc, and then you have a projectile in the middle screen, and you just get to fucking run up. It's dope. So he has to like kind of pull up on you. So the tough things in neutral would definitely be like so this button you can't roll, for example, and this Millia can't punish it unless she's like super point blank. But besides that, it's not so bad. Neutral is not so bad. Now, defense is where that's the hard part. The hardest part of this match is defense. Like many other matchups, Millia, you know, she explodes. So you need a really specific plan for defense. The good news is when he's facing you, he's not as strong as Exert. When he's facing away from you, he's like arguably as strong, I would say. I was saying that like before, I was saying that he's stronger, but like now that I played against him a bunch, I don't think he's stronger. I think he's like the same because he can't take as many turns as he used to. Is the only other thing. So this match is really decided by like who knocks down who also, because if he gets this, then he's going to win. He's basically going to win if you don't have a burst. If he gets this is pretty rough, but it's not as bad. This is the second worst situation. The worst situation is like he gets like this mid screen, or he gets like this mid screen. The second worst is this. Besides that, he's not that bad. You might be like, oh well, he has a flash kick, he can DP all your stuff. Not necessarily true. So not only can you build your mix up so that you can block DPs and stuff, but you can also literally make him not be able to DP sometimes, because if you make him stand, he has to not charge. So like you could build mix-ups in that way to force him to stand up so you can do mix-ups. So yeah, overall it feels like even-ish. Right now I'm just gonna say it's like 5-5. I think like long term it's gonna be Millia's favorite though, personally. So Nagore Yuki. So I've heard really mixed things about this matchup from Millia players, where they struggle against him a lot. I've played against this character a ton because he's a new character. I can't use my legacy experience against the character, and he's got a lot of like weird things with like the blood gauge and the dash and blah blah blah. So after playing it a lot, I think this matchup's in Millia favor, slight advantage, like a 5.5 type of thing. Very similar to a lot of stuff that I said. She's just too fucking fast, and he's got good buttons and stuff, and he's got this. This is like one of his best neutral moves against her actually. And the main reason is it's 0 on block and it just moves fast. Like all his other shit, like when they press that button, outside of like 2S and Beyblade, any other button he presses and he misses it and Millia's close to him, she just gets to combo him. So a really good example is this move. Like you might be like, oh, Millia's jump all the time, so let's use this, right? But like actually this move it's only big in the air. It's not so big in the ground. So if he whiffs this move, immediately if he whiffs that move, he's dead. It's literally just this move and this move. Not only that, if they don't manage their blood well, like he doesn't have a DP and his jump is slow, so if they don't manage the blood meter well and he goes at a blood gauge, the round's basically over. It's really hard for him to come back from that. The main thing that he has that's good against her is that this is 0, so that if she blocks it, she really basically can't do anything about it because her fastest button is 6 frames, and he can like move, you know, back and forth, you know, in case you try to grab something like that. Feel pretty good about this match. I played a lot of different Nagorikis too, of all different skill levels, so like I feel pretty confident in saying a slight Millia favor. I mean, at worst, it's like a 6-4 for Millia, but I don't think so. I don't think 6-4. Okay, Giovanna. This matchup is one I'm really iffy on. So I have a lot of experience in this matchup, and I just don't know how to call it. I think this is, at worst, it's 5.5 for Gio. I sort of feel like it's even, though. The more I play it, the less I bug out about it, which is a good thing. So the main thing about Gio is that she keeps up with you. She's very, very fast. Her return is really, really high. Her meter build is really fast. Those are like the three major things she has. Gio's main weakness, though, is that in the air, she's not super fast. Like, her air dash doesn't go as far as the other simple characters for the most part. There's a couple exceptions. And a lot of the moves that Gio players like to use in neutral, she has to commit to hard body. So like Far Slash is a really good example, or like the Spiral Arrow is another example. If they're actually good at movement in footsies, they're not going to commit too hard all the time. They're going to be using her fucking godlike dash to fuck with you. But when Gio does choose to press, if she whiffs, done. Like, done. Even a move that, like, this move is kind of hard for some people to deal with, right? Pain, right? Once you start learning hitbox, hurtbox interactions for stuff, some of these moves are not so bad. Geos don't use Far Slash. No, this is you have to know how to deal with this move. And you're capping if you say they don't use that move. This is one of the most important moves that she has because it beats backdash. It's active as fuck. This move, like, if you're playing people who don't use this move, I don't know. And they need a specific response to hit it because, like, the kicks are just out, and the way the hitbox hurtbox, the way the hitboxes on it and the hurtboxes on moves are in that game, like, when people just do normal shit, they just get hit. They'll get hit by this, trying to, like, punish it. I've gotten a bunch of DMs from people asking me, how do I punish that move on whiff, right? How do I punish that move on whiff that's not jumping? Jumping is a good one, but if you're not already in the air, if you're already in the air, you're Gucci. But if you're not already in the air, you gotta remember that you see her leg down there. It's all vulnerable. So if you have like a long-reaching low or something, you can use that to hit it. So in my case, I'd be using like 2S and 2D a lot against it. 2D obviously higher return, but. So that's a really big thing. Another kind of like rough thing about fighting Gio is that she gains meter a lot faster than you, and her damage output is really high. So that combination is not good to fight against. Like, sometimes you just explode randomly. The good news is when you knock her down, done. Just like many other characters. And overall, Millia is faster. Millia is faster, to the point that since Gio has, for the most part, most of her moves that she uses are long total duration, outside of jumping, dash 5k, things like that, sometimes Gio has to commit to things like that to try to hit Millia. The risk return is pretty good. If she hits you with that, you take like 60% into break, but if she misses, Millia knocks her down, which is like implied 50% basically, right? From playing a lot of Gio too, like, I feel pretty comfortable against the character. I play like really strong Gios also. I think it's just like the rounds that I explode come from a place of speed compared to other characters. And I think that's why I was bothered by it before. But I'm still kind of iffy. I actually don't know how to call it 100%. It feels even-ish. At worst, it's Gio's favor though, I would say, like, slightly. But it's definitely like not terrible. I think it's fine. Okay, Anji. So I don't know shit about this character. I don't know shit about this character. Everyone tells me he's bad. And the one Anji player I asked said that Millia spoke Anji, so I actually have no comment. Like, this is the character I have the absolute least amount of games against, is fucking Anji. So I don't. if you're looking for something, I got none. Okay, so last character, Ino. One, I like this character a lot. Let's start with that. So this matchup is really, really fucking volatile. This is not a fun matchup, by the way. It was not a fun matchup in Exert. It's not a fun matchup in this game. So, one, the character has no fucking footsies at all, basically, because she's not as fast as she used to be. So you're fighting like dive, and stroke and like hover dash basically, and her sticking out huge hitboxes. Mildly annoying to deal with. Millia has like a slight favor in this match. If Ino gets a meter, the match swings to the other extreme where Ino can literally like avoid her from doing this to you. Millia does not have good responses. Your only main thing is hope that she does it really high in the air so you can like trade 6p or do 6p. Besides that, she can't really do anything about it. So you have to like pay attention to when they have bursts so they don't fucking gold burst you. It's kind of an annoying matchup, I'm not gonna lie. But the things I'll give for Millia that are really good is that it's really easy to hit the dive in neutral. She's got JS, and that close slash beats both the jump and the stroke at the same time, which is a big deal. That you could chase jumps and deal with stroke at the same time. Because one of the strengths of stroke is that she is just super low to the ground, as you can see here. She's super low to the ground, so you can't hit her with normal shit. So, if, for example, I'm getting hit here. I'm getting hit here. Yep. Goes right under, just like that. So Millia's mobility helps a lot again. Ino's damage is like, I want to say it's lower than Exert, because like I feel like random hits don't lead into fucking bombos, but like she gains meter decently fast, plus they go for gold burst a lot. And when she has meter, she's got the fucking command grab, she's got Fortissimo, that's like free 50/50s out the ass everywhere. You can't be as liberal as neutral, because like if you do this and you guess wrong on her doing just Fortissimo for no reason, then you fucking take all that damage for no reason. So that thing aside though, I feel pretty good about the matchup. It's just a pretty volatile one, as in like like Millia feels strong in the matchup, and then Ino goes lol gold burst, and then now all of a sudden I feel like really okay. So to wrap it up, outlook is pretty good. I feel like most of her matchups are even or favorable. The question mark ones, if you're like, bro, bad matchups, go. I'd be like Potemkin slight disadvantage, Giovanna slight disadvantage. That's it. Summary. 5.5 Millia favor, 4-4. Even, question mark. But Zato players say they don't like the matchup, so I'll agree, I guess. Slight favor, question mark, even, 5.5 Millia, or maybe 6-4 down the line. If you told this is like a maybe disadvantage, but maybe slight advantage, I don't know. This one's slight Millia, and this is like even or at worst like 5.5 for Geo. Her matchup spread is really nice, actually. Any questions?